Welcome today to the Art of Preaching. Brother Osborne, thanks for taking time out again. You are a continual favorite. I get requests continuously when you're going to have Brother Osborne on the Art of Preaching again. I wanted to ask you today about the ending or conclusion of a message. I think a lot of preachers struggle with that, and perhaps it's not by giving enough time and devotion to that. I know you've always taught us the introduction is so important. You got to get the ring on the finger and to engage your congregation so they'll go with you the whole way. And what an incredible analogy that was. And I feel like personally I spend too much time, not too much time, but I certainly spend a lot of focus on
Yeah,
the first 5 minutes, the introduction, engaging the
sure,
congregation, getting the ring on the finger.
sure,
But using your own analogy, I've thought, it doesn't matter if you put a ring on the finger if you don't get them the altar and make the vow and seal the deal. And
right.
and sometimes I think I put so much in the first 80% of the sermon and don't really give adequate development to the close, to the altar call. And so what are your thoughts on that? How can we be better preachers by really working on that ultimate closing, the ultimate part of the sermon, and that is the
Sure,
appeal?
sure. Well, you know, the two important times in flying an airplane. I'm not a pilot, but I fly a lot. Two important times to me, at least. And that's takeoff and landing.
That's right.
Obviously, you can put an automatic pilot about 34,000 feet. He can rest and relax and let go of the helm and just sit around, talk and chit chat because he got an automatic pilot. The 32,000 feet planes don't have a problem flying. But when you take off and you land, it needs attention. It needs deliberate attention. It needs actions have to be performed, and that's not automatic.
Yeah,
That takes skill. That's where a pilot earns his pay at. Take
that's
off and
good.
landing. Because those are important times because both times you're trying to overcome gravity. When the plane is just flying at a level flight, it's the air under the wings that hold it up. But when you're landing and taking off, you're trying to overcome something. And so you talk about take off, and when you're getting your message going, obviously that takes a lot of skill, a lot of hands-on work, a lot of preparation. And that's where the pilot really exercises his expertise at takeoff. But then landing is the same way. You don't want gravity to pull you down too fast. I mean, if you just want to land, like you do, shut the engines off and you'll come down. You'll land, crash
Make a
land.
mess of it.
And you see some people crash land because
Yeah.
they don't have a real descent into their closing, or they start their descent too soon and they don't land soon enough. You got to keep people with you. They have to be willing to stay with you on this landing part.
Yeah.
And if you take too long in your flight and in your takeoff, they lose interest in the message. And I've had just the other day I was someplace, I don't remember where it was, but I shouldn't say that, probably somebody else remember where I was. But the person actually preached me on a conviction. I was ready to go to the altar. Then he preached me out from under it
Right.
because he went too long. He had me right where I needed to be. I wanted to go up and pray, but then he went on and on and on and on and didn't have a close for it really, or didn't feel comfortable with his close, and actually preached me out from under what he had preached me into. So
Yeah.
timing is very important in the end. That you somehow bring this home, bring this. What does it mean to me? Because you can have 3 points, I guess. You can have your interpretation of that verse of scripture. You can have your illustration of that verse of scripture. But then above all, you have to make application of that. What does it mean to me? This is not just an information. I've gathered a lot of information, but what does it mean to me? And so your close has to take all this, gather all this up that you have preached and bring it down to what does it mean to me? I'm going to give an altar call. What does this mean for me? What does this mean to me? What should I do about this? Was this just something that happened 3,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago? Or is it applicable to me? So if you can't make this application, apply that to me. Apply this centuries old story. Apply that to my life. And in your closing, that's where the application comes in. I don't care how your interpretation of it was or how good your illustrations were of it. If you can't apply that to the individuals that are there, what does that mean to me? What should I do about this? What are my options? How should I respond to this? What do I need? You have to categorically say what this person should do about this. You know, it's again, it's your landing. It's trying to land this sermon in a good, smooth landing. We don't want to bump. We don't want to come down, hit the ground, bounce up, hit the ground, bounce up, hit the ground. We don't want to jar. I was landed the other day, It landed so hard that the doors came open. The storage doors all popped open. Landed so hard. You can tell by a person's expertise is how smooth the landing is.
Yeah.
A lot of guys can fly a plane. I don't guess it takes that much skill. Actually, just to 34,000 feet, they probably let you or I up there, and we could stand there and talk, and it's all automatic. But landing is an important part because there's no good in takeoff if you can't land.